can't stand these wars between left and right, black and white, and there's so much more. Straight or gay, if or where you pray, there's always a difference we can find.
Always a message that's left behind.
Better to focus on ties that bind us together. This guitar, it doesn't see gender. These strings don't care where you're from. Music's the voice of a world of different people, singing together as one. That's proof that this could be done. Oh yes. This all starts with goals. We need dignity, equality.
Hope connects our souls.
There's no unity without harmony. Here's the partisan's purpose: to build up walls, create these divisions that make us small. Because in the end, we all rise and fall together. Doesn't care what you look like. It doesn't know country from state. These strings don't care what your name or what your age is.
It's the way we relate.
And this guitar doesn't see labels. These notes
Stand up for what's right.
music's the voice of a world of different people coming together for life. This is a call to action.
Not a call to arms. Harmony instead of harm.
Healing doesn't come until we listen. Human to human, yeah. This guitar's the rhythm of reason. Ain't no bridge it can't cross. Music's the sound of a million different people, letting no voice get lost. In this guitar, remembering Marvin.
Reimagining John.
Music's the voice
Of the person in the mirror.
every part has a song. These hearts can fix what's wrong.
Hey, welcome to Tank Talk. I'm your host, Bob Tankard. And this evening's guests are theatrical people. They've been singing and dancing and doing all kinds of stuff on the stage. We have Craig Tankard, known as C.J. Anthony. We have Dr. Jay Siegel, also actually the developer of the program. And we have Barbara Dacey, a contributor to the program. And listen, I was so anxious to do this when I heard that song, Jay. It was unbelievable. and I said, I got to find out how all this stuff happened. So before we start, let's talk a little bit about yourselves. Craig, tell us about you a little bit.
Well, Craig Tankard, island guy, back and forth to Los Angeles, doing various projects. I worked with Michael Jackson and Vanessa Williams, and now I'm back on the island working. So that's it.
Jay?
Oh, I moved here over 35 years ago and kind of splitting my time between medicine and music. And it's great to have the ability to do both.
Great, great, great. And Barbara?
Yeah, I've lived on the vineyard. First time I came to the vineyard was 1970. I've lived here full time since 85. I worked at MVY for 32 years and retired in 2018. And over the course of the time that I was at MVY and before, I played music, singer-songwriter, and performed in Boston and on the vineyard, and then also a meditator and part of the Bodhi Path of Martha's Vineyard.
Great, great, great. Listen, Jay, how did this project begin? How did it come about? Because it's always important for people to know how, especially with musicians, you know, how do they create things? What goes through their mind? You know, what do they see? What do they hear? And all of a sudden, they come up with a project. How did this project happen?
There's something about being around water and being in a restful place that at least begins projects. There's a certain inspiration that comes along. So frequently we visit my wife's family in France, and I started getting some ideas. They have a lovely restful spot, of course not working, and I keep a guitar there, and they have a nice river. Their house is literally built on the river.
Right.
And sometimes I'll just sit with the guitar and play, and things come to me. So a couple of the couplets began surfacing things like, there's always a difference we can find, there's always a message that's left behind, better to focus on ties that bind us together. There's something about being in France and looking at the world. They love to talk about American politics there. So seeing America through the world's eyes is really kind of enlightening, and it makes you think. And then I came back, and then the real work began, because the inspiration was done, and then you have to craft it. And in my day-to-day, I was working on a new CD that I've got coming out shortly, called Mixed Messages. And Kate Taylor, who is also one of the core group, is not with us now because she's recording her new CD. She and I had several talks about what's going on in the world and how it was affecting people. And there was just something in the way that she mentioned things that were going on for her and coming up for her that made me go, I need to stop working on what I'm working on, and I need to focus on this song. And then the crafting began to come, the words like the differences that we all have, and the fact that I think we're all tired of what's going on. So it's a great natural way to begin. I'm tired of these wars between left and right, whatever it is, left and right, black and white, straight or gay. It's time that we figure out a way past all of these problems and work together and create harmony and change, responsible humanity.
Greg, have you and Barbara and Jay ever worked together before this particular record?
I've worked with Jay before. I've known Jay for, 35 years maybe? Something, maybe 40 years? But
You're dating us.
I've never had the opportunity to work with Barbara before. I've heard of her from MVY over the years and everything. And, you know, she has a distinct voice. So when she talks, you know who she is. But like I've said before, she has such a great spirit that I feel like I've known her for a very long time already, and we've just really connected over the past month, I would say.
Hey, Barbara, how did you both get involved? How did you get involved in this? How did you come about? Now, I know that you got a background in music and everything, and it seems like everybody, all athletes somehow get to cross each other and all, politicians cross each other, and I guess musicians do the same thing. So how did you come to be a part of this group?
Yeah, well, Jay got in touch with me, and I had worked with Jay before. I'd sang backup on at least one of your songs, and I've known Jay for a long time. I met him, I think maybe first time at Bodhi Path. I'm not sure. Yeah, so Jay just called and asked me to be part of it. And I'll say the same thing about Craig too. It was just one of the great things about this project is that we all got to know each other. I mean, the people that were remote, we didn't get to know, but we got to know them through their voices. But I did get to know Craig, and it was an instant kind of connection that we had. And I've known Kate for a long time, and it was just really very inspiring to work together with Jay at the helm, and then he had pulled in all of these other people, and including me, and it was just such a great collaboration.
So you and Craig, I know what it means to Jay, because he explained that. What does this project mean to both of you?
I mean, this is a very extremely important project. It means a lot to me. It's like I've said in the past, this could be the most important project that I've ever done, because it's doing something to help other people. It's not just about like making a record and getting money from it. It's going to do something for people, and it's not even just a local thing. It's going to do something for people around the world, which I think is really a great situation.
Barb?
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo that too. I mean, not only has it done something for all of us, I think everyone involved has been inspired and moved by it, but also the choice of Doctors Without Borders as the beneficiary was just brilliant, I thought, and really something that the whole project is benefiting people, us and the world.
Jay, how did you record this process take place in a COVID situation? How I said to myself, how did he do this? Because I know 3 people, but there's a lot more than 3 people on this particular record, and I'm saying, how did that take place? How did it take place? How did you think about it?
The idea of doing this song in a We Are the World style type picture was always in my mind, because I felt like it's not my story to tell, it's everyone's story. So I wanted to be cognizant of making sure that no voice gets lost, is one of the lines. And having worked with Kate and Barbara and Craig, especially Craig, because we've worked a lot more together, I knew their voices. I know that like Barbara's voice and my voice, they just have this natural symbiosis. And then knowing what Craig does to lines, I set that last human line because I knew what he would do with it, which is amazing. The vocal gymnastics and the style and the heart and soul that he brings to it is just outstanding. And then of course there's Kate, who has that very distinct voice with perhaps the best musical instincts of anyone I've ever worked with. So I kind of had a dream team to work with. The idea of creating a core group allowed me to go, okay, well, I'll record the parts first, hear the melodies, so we would call it a vocal guide track, and then I brought Craig and Barbara and Kate in so that they could begin the process of parcelizing out or parceling out certain lines. And then the song came together, and then it's just a matter of, okay, well, I need this voice, a higher voice, a lower voice, a richer voice, depending on what we needed. And I contacted Breedlove. I've been a Breedlove artist for quite some time. And they provided me with some people that I had never met. And then we had an opportunity for a human-to-human connection. We actually talked on the phone. I sent them the words. They were inspired by the message and by the beneficiary. And they were able to record in their home studios, send me files, which, given that I already had the framework with the help of these guys, I was able to import them, balance them out, added whatever elements needed to blend them, and that's how the process continued, just one step at a time.
Well, how does something of this magnitude, like I said, in a COVID situation, where you have to bring it. It's not like you're all in one studio. You have to bring the studio to you. Each studio, each thing that person's singing. How long did that take to complete?
Surprisingly, I think that we'd all agree that the process went very quickly. We started getting serious about crafting this in maybe the end of April, and here we are with finished product by September.
Is that normal or no?
I don't think that it's normal. There seemed to be some kind of spiritual piece to this, that everything happened in a very serendipitous way.
Right.
The way that I met some of the other folks
Right.
that got involved only could have happened with a whole lot of kismet, which made me think that this song wanted to be written, and in the beginning it was just like me trying to get myself out of the way to let the song manifest itself and then craft it. So it was actually easier than you might think because of technology.
Let me ask you something. While you were in France, you wrote the song, right?
I wrote the beginning of the song. So there were a couple of couplets. It's not unusual, at least when I'm writing. A lot of people sit down and they want to just like, okay, we're going to take an hour and write a song. And I think that just like cheese or wine, they need to age in my mind. So I had these couplets, and then I had these couplets, and then I had an idea for a pre-chorus. And I communicated with these guys. Do you like what you hear? Do you want to add anything? Is anything reaching out to you to try and make it a community effort? And then it just felt like, again, the song was writing itself.
Craig and Barbara, both of you recorded before, right?
Yeah.
And how long did, like Craig, you had a couple of songs out. How long did it take you to record a song?
That's it depends on the song, depends on the producer. There's a lot of...
Now, you've written songs too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a song that came out called Games that went #1 in Billboard with a kid named Chucky Booker. I wrote that song in actually 20 minutes. So and then some songs could take weeks or months. It depends basically on the song, and sometimes you get blocked. Like so sometimes creatively it doesn't always work that way, but it depends on the producer, the song, things like that.
Barb?
Yeah, I probably haven't done as much recording as Craig or Jay, but I've always noticed that it's so exacting. It's exacting work, and then coming into this situation, it was exacting, but there was something about it that Jay's talking about that really moved things along very quickly, and a lot of that is Jay. Jay's abilities, his skill as a songwriter and producer, his ears, he's able to really hear like where things could go. And so I was carried along by that. And so for me personally, it was a lot easier than an easier experience than I had at other times.
Jay, talk about the Doctors Without Borders. So what is that?
That came about from trying to figure out that as we bring people in to the project, I didn't want anyone to think that there was money that was going to be made from their efforts. It feels like this is a message that no one should be benefiting from financially. And my wife and I were looking at humanitarian organizations just to level the playing field. So no matter who you ask to participate, all the money, all your time and effort is going for the benefit of Doctors Without Borders, who we knew because of COVID was not having as many events. So the fundraising was going down, yet the demand because of COVID was going up. So my wife and I started looking around at other 501c3s, nonprofits, that had a humanitarian message. And surprisingly enough, many of the 501c3s are group-based. When this song is all about the responsible humanity, individual, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. So the song refers to the music's the voice of the person in the mirror, the sound of the person in the mirror. So we felt like Doctors Without Borders was the best choice because their mission statement tracks the words of the song beautifully.
You know, when we think about this, and we remember going back to the Michael Jackson thing when he wrote everything else, it was a time in our lives, it was a time in the world where that song was pertinent, was special, was right. And as I listened to this song at my desk in my office, I said, this song is right for this time. How are you going to get it out to the world? How's that going to take place? How are we going to produce it to get it out there? You know, MVTV is a small TV station, but you need it on the big radio stations, the big television stations. You might even need to let people see you perform it. You know what I mean? Like,
But the thing
like
is
they did.
you never know. The thing is you never, it's a small TV station, but you never know who's watching. That's the thing. It could be a big time producer or something watching, and they may say, hey, let's do something with it. You just never know. That's why I believe everything's big.
You know, it
You know?
reminds me, with your question, your answer, Craig, remind me of, I don't watch it often, but I happened to have been watching it this time, the singing, and the young lady from England came on, and she didn't look like much of anything. And all of a sudden, and they all looked at her, the host looked at her, but when she opened her mouth and started singing, they were totally blown away. And one of them grabbed her immediately and signed her to a contract and, took off. Do you look at this being almost like the same, Jay? Once it gets out there, I want to know, how can you get it out to other people?
Well, it's actually a great segue because we were just talking about the person in the mirror.
Right.
So it's growing grassroots now. Everyone who listens to it can do several things. They can download the song, they can share it, they can donate, and they can call. Craig and I were talking about relatives that he has that have radio stations that he hadn't necessarily thought about. We know that the person who owns or runs Comcast is here. We know that the person who founded BET is here. So I think that whoever has connections into those venues, hopefully they'll be as inspired as you were to do this show, as my friends here were to help me form the core of this group, and then the other folks who sang on it, and the corporate sponsors to get involved. I think everyone's inspired by the song, and I think your question is a great one. How do we give it more visibility? And that really is just going to come down to every one of us reaching out and saying, hey, this is really important. Pay attention to it.
This is, like I said, this is a great effort, and especially coming from Martha's Vineyard. But we all know that a lot of things have come from the vineyard in a special way. Barbara, how would you go out to now some of you are in different circles, or right now, at least with the COVID, everybody's got their own little bubble. How are you going to present this situation to your people that you are affiliated with?
Yeah,
How would
well,
you go about it?
I already have, and as Jay said, we're all doing that now as this part of the project starts. So I sent it to I have 5 brothers and sisters. I sent it to all of them. They loved it, and many of them donated to Doctors Without Borders. Been sending it to friends. We got it to MVY, and they played it. Laurel Reddington did an interview with us, and a couple of features on it. So that's the way that I'm doing it.
Greg, how are you going to do it? You're talking a little bit about the people that you know, that and plus your people that you perform with. You talk about Chucky and some of these other people. Would they strike an interest in this as once they hear it?
Oh, they could. I mean, I've been letting them know about the song and texting the songs to them and that stuff. So, I mean, I've gotten a lot of great feedback about it. So, I mean, who knows what could happen with it,
Do you think, Jay, that somebody else would want to take it? You know what I mean? Sometimes music is out there and somebody else says, I'd like to take this. And instead of using the funds for charity or charitable situations, they want to use it as a profit-making organization and for themselves. Could that happen?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, my manager in Nashville, Chris Keaton, he has a lot of connections, and he's been playing it. So he's now been shopping the song around to places in Nashville, which obviously is a hotbed for music. And just last Friday, we all were made Badass of the Week in Nashville. So
All right.
who knows where that'll go? and it's just every one of the people are taking. They're trying to spread the word in the best way they can, and some of it's about belief, and some of it is about energy. And again, I just think that we need to reach out, we need to share, we need to donate. Doctors Without Borders has been helpful. Breed Love has been very helpful in getting the word out, as well as CD Baby, as well as pretty much everybody that we've asked, and in particular Sweetwater, who did all the mixing and mastering and supported this song for nothing.
Wow, wow, wow.
You know, the way that Jay has included so many different people, I think it bodes well for the future of the song. And you bring up great points, and Jay, the idea of getting it shopped around in Nashville. I mean, any one of those things could just happen or make it happen. And if someone else recorded the song too, it would give it this whole other life. So there's so many possibilities.
So, in other words, if somebody else recorded it, they'd have to go through you, though, wouldn't they?
That's correct, yeah. I have the copyright.
Right.
Song was copywritten. It's already been published. But, the idea of, for instance, some of the people that we contacted about doing the song, there wasn't enough time because we wanted to get this out before the election while people were paying attention to world situations. So this song could be picked up by any other group of people. I know that my manager had talked with Darius Rucker about this. I know we've talked to Carly Simon, and Kate's reached out to James and Livingston. So it's possible that they could actually take the mat of this song. The thing that's interesting about that is that it's kind of a double-edged sword, because when you have stars of that magnitude, of course, the word gets out more, and there are benefits with that.
Right.
But this song features 17 of the best musicians that you've never heard of. So, when I look at people like Barbara, the way that she's worked to develop her talent, and Craig, I would love for them to get the love that they deserve. And for all the people who are struggling that are out there, like Kim Townsend, and for, who's an amazing talent, and Thornetta Davis, who is known as the undisputed queen of blues in Detroit, that my sister wound up reaching out to when she joined the project. She has an amazing voice. I'm hoping that all of these struggling musicians, we're struggling as it is, and now even more because of COVID, I'm hoping that they're going to get a lot of love from this, because they deserve it for their talent, for their time, for their heart, and for just being willing to be part of this project.
Could it ever be, and I often think about this, you three are here, or four, you have Kate.
Yes.
But could it be at some point, say The Voice, for instance, says, we want you guys to come and sing it on our show. Could you ever pull all those people together to make it happen? I'm out there.
Are you offering?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, would that happen? Could all of you get together to make it happen?
We've actually talked about that. In fact, Barbara and I were talking yesterday about how to get the word out, and I know that she has been a presence in Ladyfest. And then there's no reason why we couldn't take a lot of the people who weren't part of this. There's a lot of other wonderful musicians out here who could come in and do these parts, and we could do it live at some point of time. Wouldn't be terribly difficult to do. It might be another fun project to do around this. As long as it continues to get the word out, both for Doctors Without Borders and the message of responsible humanity, the individual beauty of us as people, promote more human-to-human contact. I think that's where change starts.
Listen, we got about a minute and a half. and this has been so interesting, but did we not cover something that you wanted to cover?
Well, we have a video out that
Yeah. You do?
it's online now. Yeah, it's on. You can see it on YouTube.
Really?
And all kinds, and our website. You could see it on that. It's
What's the
It's a
website?
greit video.
What's the website?
So the website is pondroadproject.com. My wife did the whole thing and gave each one of the artists a page so you can read all about the individual artists.
Okay.
There is a place to donate, and I'm actually really thrilled to say that in the week and a half that this song has already been released, that we have now raised almost $8,500.
Wow.
And so they can listen to the video there, and the more likes that we're in a world of likes, the more likes that we get, the more that they will play the song. So I think that the video is actually really powerful.
Wow.
And it features each one of the artists. Like there's a scene with Craig and I. There's a really cool vocal piece with the three of us actually singing a harmony part in Goals. And then there's a part where Barbara and I were doing a scene on two sides of a fence. So there's the video very much tracks the sound
That's great.
and the feeling.
That's unbelievable. Listen.
And Celine, Jay's wife, has been a super help through this whole thing, and I just wanted to give her a shout out
All right.
because she took video and she did everything,
Great.
to help this project along. So
Great.
There
So
would
listen,
be no project without
Yeah.
Celine because
That's
she
right.
set everything up. You said from the website to the donation campaign to all of the social media. So, love you, dear.
Listen, you guys have done a fantastic job. And I want to tell you something. You have an open opportunity to come on Tank Talk anytime. All you got to do is a phone call, and we're here, okay? And I want to thank you for tuning in to Tank Talk. This is your host, Bob Tankard, saying good evening.